I was wearing a mask because it was around the pandemic. So you really couldn't see my face, but I was looking at your fit and I was like, oh, wow, that's really edgy. It looks like Cyberpunk 2077. I really love that jacket. I'm really into J-pop. You have like this Japanese jacket. So I'm going to tell this person, I love their jacket. I love their fit.
I'm so glad I got to see what was under the mask because I love you. Ooh, what's a memory we share that best describes our relationship and why? And why?
I would say like, if we were characters from a TV show, we'd be Bob and Linda. Because Linda is such an animated person. She just wants to help, even though sometimes she messes up on how she's helping because she's doing too much. And I feel like that's kind of me. As to where you're like Bob. You're somewhat of a jerk when it comes to your words because you're really sarcastic. And I find that kind of refreshing because I don't really have the know-how to stand up for myself in certain ways. So I love that you can be that outspoken voice for me and be like, no, we're not doing that. But you have like a really good heart. What do I do that makes you feel I understand you?
That's a good one because you do a lot for me. But the most important thing I would say is the other day when I talked to you about how I was feeling with everything that we've been going through and the stress that I've been feeling, and kind of voicing my concern about self-harm. And, you know, you sat with me for a few extra minutes in the car, just talking to me, especially, you know, saying you've had friends who've dealt with it and where they're at. And like, you know, there have been a couple of times where I've tried, and I'm glad I didn't succeed because I wouldn't be here with you. You know, this has been the best couple of years so far. We've got way more to go.
Yeah, it's like I always tell you, it's more so like when you brought it up, I didn't want you to feel like I was pushing you away, because it may come off that way when someone's worried about you. Like, oh, what's going to happen? What's going on in their mind? I'm scared. And so like, I didn't want you to feel like you weren't in a safe space to come to me again with something like that, because I always want you to feel like you can come to me whenever you're feeling a certain way, whether it's happy, sad, angry, excited. I want you to be able to want to choose me as one of the first or few people that you want to share that with. What pain still lingers from our past, and what needs to happen for it to heal?
I think the conversation we had about your divorce.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean to come off as harsh when I said, you know, that you weren't making the effort. I didn't mean to come off as harsh. I want you to want it. I don't want you to, you know, I didn't want you to just feel that you were doing that just to jump into something else. Like, I wanted you to want it for yourself.
Yeah.
But that is not how it came out. But since that situation, we've kind of talked more and been a little more, I've been a little bit more understanding of it.
Once I decided, you know what, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go ahead and get a divorce, it was kind of really hard.
Yeah?
It was extremely hard because at the time, my dad was still sick.
Yeah.
And having to go through all of that with my dad and his cancer and saving up money, and then we're trying to establish new things and get our own place. It was more so not the mindset of letting go, but the aspect of, why am I the only one that's putting in the effort still?
Yeah.
As far as trying to leave this relationship.
What do you think is the one thing I really want you to understand about me?
Your intention. I think a lot of the time, because of the way I was brought up, and also with how I verbalize things and how I think, even with my ADHD, not giving that a pass, but it does contribute to like how I function and how I, take in certain information. I think I'm really defensive.
Yeah, I mean, we've had the conversation. I've never has my intention been to inflict any emotional reaction, negative emotional reaction.
Yeah.
It just, I need to work on the soft skills of how do I come to my girlfriend, who I know is very sensitive.
Extremely sensitive. Extremely sensitive.
But it's still something that I'm learning how to do.
What do you find most difficult to talk to me about, and why?
Your family.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love your family.
Yeah.
I just think that because of how much you've been through, you've always put them first because of what you've been through. You always want them there. But you still need to set boundaries with your family because they can't always be there. Like, this is our relationship. They're not in our relationship. And I want you to be able to set that boundary with your family. And sometimes it might be hard, but no, I'm not going to this. No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not picking her up.
Yeah.
But I don't want to come across as like, oh, I want to keep you from your family, because I would never want to do that.
No, I get what you're saying. It's more of like my dad passed last year. It was a lot on all of us.
Yeah.
And not to say that it's a bad thing, that's something that happens to everyone. Your parents pass. It's not a conversation everyone has. But my dad was an advocate for cancer. So he dressed up in these costumes while he was getting his medication and cheer up other people.
Yeah.
And he would have his YouTube channel and would always remind me, this is all other people have when they're sick like this, when they're in a bed fighting this disease.
I loved your dad. Your dad was great.
He's a character. So when we lost the only patriarch of our family, it took a lot on all of us. And being the oldest daughter and then having my brother be the oldest child, we both kind of took on the responsibility of wanting to not really replace my dad, but any type of responsibilities he had, try to take them on so that there wasn't so much of a gap between our elderly, because all of our aunts are our great aunts, not just our aunts. And because they're older, we have to take care of them. And I think it's more so like, I want to be that. Just like how my dad was that way for people. I want to be that same type of person. But I need to kind of take care of myself too.
Yeah.
Because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of other people.
And I say that all the time.
Yeah.
It's very important to be able to take care of yourself. I mean, you have me. I'm always going to take care of you. But you also have to prioritize yourself,
Yeah.
Ooh. What do you think I need from you, and are you providing it?
I would say optimism. I think that a lot of the times you focus on the negative. And like, I'm always like, oh no, I don't want to focus on the negative because then I'm just going to go into this like deep dark hole. No, let's focus on the positive. And because we're so opposite in our personalities and how we think about certain things, I'm always trying to bring you the positive as to where sometimes you bring the negative. And I'll like, no, let's turn that around. Let's turn it around. Let's try to think about it this way because we have this, this, and this going on. Let's not focus on what we don't have.
Yeah. Yeah. I
don't always bring it though, but I try.
No, when you're going through a negative spiral, I do try to bring the positive.
Yeah, always. Always.
But sometimes I feel like it's hard for you to draw out the positive out of me when I'm in a negative headspace. Because I have depression, so it's really hard to get me out of that. But I appreciate you for constantly doing it.
Oh, I'm persistent. I'm not gonna let you go down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my turn.
Yeah.
What do I need to hear from you?
That I appreciate everything that you're doing. I see everything that you're doing. For the last year, you've pretty much been the only one keeping us afloat. No matter how many jobs I've applied to and how many false leads I've gotten, you've been, with everything that you're dealing with, you've been able to keep us afloat. And I don't tell you as often how much I appreciate you for it. And I know the one thing that you want is your dad to be here, But he's definitely told you that he's proud of you and everything that you're doing.
Yeah, I take him with me every day.
Yeah.
He was there when I got the first big job, and I wish that my dad was alive to see that I finally, even without college, made it into an office job. And I'm not just like a barista. Not to say that being a service worker isn't the best job.
It's hard,
you can't
but
always pay your bills.
Yeah, not with the way our rent's looking.
And, for him to see that I'm helping people the same way he was helping people, and that I'm able to provide for myself and take care of everything. I just wish he was here to see it while it was happening. But to know that I carry his message with me every day, I carry him with me every day, is enough.
Yeah. But he is proud of you because he said it.
Yeah.
He's actually told you. So that's one thing you never have to live without. He's proud of you.
Yeah.
Hey there, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the conversation and want to ask these questions to your own partner, check out the And Couples Edition card game at theskindeep.com/shop.